A former Vegas slot employee just broke his silence about something casinos spent millions to hide. 10 specific machines engineered to be more manipulative than anything else on the floor. These aren't rumors. These are documented patterns from ex-casino employees who programmed, serviced, and watched these games drain bankrolls in real time. Today we're exposing the 10 most psychologically rigged machines in casino history. And the final one is the machine they say never should have been approved, and chances are you've played it. Machine number 10, Kitty Glitter. Don't let the sparkles fool you. Kitty Glitter looks like a harmless game designed for casual players who love cute graphics and cheerful sounds. But former slot technicians revealed this machine was programmed with one of the most aggressive near-miss systems they'd ever seen. Here's how it worked. The reels were weighted to show winning symbols landing just above or just below the pay line constantly. You'd see 3 diamonds line up perfectly, then notice the 4th one sitting one position off. It happened over and over. Former employees report the frequency of these near misses was intentionally tuned higher than standard slots. The psychological effect was devastating. Players would think they were so close to a big win that they'd keep spinning, convinced the next one had to hit. But every spin is independent. Those near misses meant nothing. The machine was just designed to look generous while paying out at a standard rate of around 88 to 90%. Casino insiders say Kitty Glitter perfected the art of making losses feel exciting. And if you think that's manipulative, wait until you see what number 9 did with its coin feature. Machine number 9, 88 fortunes. The number 8 is lucky in Chinese culture. Casinos knew that. So they created 88 fortunes and marketed it directly to players who believed in that symbolism. But former employees revealed the real magic trick was in the gold coin pot feature. Here's the setup. As you play, gold coins start filling a meter on the screen. The fuller it gets, the closer you are to triggering the jackpot picking bonus. At least that's what players believed. Former technicians explained the coin accumulation had nothing to do with your actual odds of triggering the feature. It was purely visual bait. The machine was programmed to fill that pot just enough to make you feel like you were almost there. You'd see it at 70 or 80% full and think, just a few more spins. But the trigger was random and based on bet size, not pot level. That meter was just theater designed to keep you playing longer. What made this especially effective was that players would increase their bets when the pot looked full, thinking they were maximizing their chances. In reality, they were just losing money faster. Former pit bosses report watching players pour hundreds of dollars into 88 fortunes, hypnotized by a meter that meant absolutely nothing. And speaking of visual tricks, machine number 8 took this concept to a whole new level with animations that fired constantly but paid almost nothing. Machine number 8, Cashman Casino. Mr. Cashman Slots. Mr. Cashman has a cheerful little character that pops onto the screen randomly during play, waving and celebrating. Players loved it. Former employees, they called it the Hope Machine. Here's why. Mr. Cashman would appear on the screen multiple times per session, triggering animations that made it look like something exciting was about to happen. Music would play. The character would dance around. Players would lean forward in anticipation, then nothing. Maybe a small 2x or 3x multiplier. Maybe a few extra free spins, but rarely anything that made a real dent in your losses. Former technicians explained this was intentional. The machine was programmed to trigger these bonus teases far more frequently than actual meaningful wins. The goal was to create repeated dopamine hits. Every time Mr. Cashman appeared, your brain registered potential reward, even if the actual payout was minimal. This kept players engaged far longer than they planned. They'd think Mr. Cashman showed up 5 times this session, so I must be close to a big one. But those appearances were just smoke. The real bonus triggers, the ones that paid 50x or 100x your bet, were spaced much farther apart based on the machine's volatility settings. Now, if you think bonus teases are manipulative, machine number 7 used something even more powerful: your own nostalgia. Machine number 7, the Goonies slots. If you grew up in the 80s, you loved the Goonies. Casinos knew that. So when the Goonies slot machine hit the floor, it came loaded with clips from the movie, character voices, and storyline-based bonus rounds. It felt like reliving your childhood. Former employees say that emotional hook was the whole point. Here's how the manipulation worked. The game had multiple bonus rounds tied to scenes from the film. The pirate ship, the treasure room, One-Eyed Willie's stash, each one unlocked as you played. But insiders reveal these bonuses were spaced incredibly far apart. You might trigger the first storyline bonus within 30 minutes. The next one, maybe 2 hours of play later. This created a compulsion loop. Players wanted to see what happened next. They wanted to unlock all the scenes. So they kept playing, not because they were winning, but because they were chasing the narrative. Former pit bosses report players saying things like, "I just want to see the treasure room bonus before I leave." The problem is, the spacing was deliberate. The machine was designed to make you play far longer than you intended, using story progression as the bait instead of money. And while you chased those storyline bonuses, the base game was paying out at a standard rate of around 88%. You were losing steadily while feeling entertained. But if storyline manipulation sounds bad, wait until you hear about machine number 6. That one used a visual trick so simple and so effective, former employees say it bordered on hypnosis. Machine number 6, Beer House, became a cult favorite on casino floors. The German beer hall theme, the cheerful music, the rows of colorful characters. It felt fun and festive. But former slot technicians reveal the machine's real draw was something much darker, engineered near misses, involving wild symbols. Here's the core trick. Beer House had a feature where landing a certain number of purple girl wild symbols would trigger a massive free spin bonus. You needed 5 of them to lock the feature. The machine would regularly show you 4, then it would tease the 5th one, spinning it into view just above or below the pay line, making it look like you barely missed. Former employees say this happened far more often than random chance would suggest. The real weighting was tuned to show that 5th purple girl in near-miss positions constantly. Players would see it and think, "I was so close. One more spin, and I'll get it." That one more spin turned into 100 more spins. The psychology was brutal. Staff reported watching players literally talk to the machine, saying things like, "Just one more purple girl," as if the game was listening. But the outcome was predetermined. Those near misses weren't close calls. They were programmed illusions, designed to keep you playing. Now we're entering the top 5. And machine number 5 uses a trick that's so psychologically manipulative, it makes everything we've covered so far look tame. Machine number 5. Dancing drums. Dancing drums pulls off one of the cruelest psychological tricks in modern slot design. It makes you think you have control when you have absolutely none. Former employees call this the illusion of choice, and it's devastatingly effective. Here's how it works. When you trigger the jackpot pick feature, the screen fills with gold coins. You're told to pick coins to reveal symbols. Match 3 symbols, and you win that corresponding jackpot, mini, minor, major, or grand. The game reveals your picks slowly, one by one, building suspense. It feels like your choices matter. Like if you just pick the right coin, you'll hit the grand jackpot. But former technicians reveal the outcome was determined the instant the feature triggered. Your picks don't matter. The game already knows which jackpot you're getting before you touch a single coin. That slow reveal, pure theater designed to make you feel involved in a decision that doesn't exist. The psychological impact is massive. Players believe they're playing a skill-based game. They develop picking strategies. They remember which positions paid before. They convince themselves they can influence the outcome, but they can't. It's programmed. Former floor staff report watching players agonize over their coin choices, completely unaware the result was locked in before they started. And if you think fake choice is manipulative, machine number 4 took the bonus tease concept and weaponized it. Machine number 4, Lightning Link. Lightning Link became wildly popular across casino floors. Bright colors, frequent action, exciting hold and spin features. But former employees reveal this machine perfected something they call bait spin cycles. And it's one of the most psychologically aggressive designs they've ever seen. Here's the core mechanism. Lightning Link constantly flashes bonus symbols on the reels. You need 6 special symbols to trigger the hold and spin feature. The machine regularly shows you 4 or 5 of them, constantly. Almost every few spins, you're seeing multiple bonus symbols land, making you feel like you're right on the edge of triggering the feature. Former technicians explain this was intentional programming. The reel strips were weighted to show bonus symbols in non-winning positions far more frequently than random distribution would suggest. You'd see them everywhere except in the configuration needed to actually trigger the bonus. This created a perpetual state of almost there. The effect on player behavior was extreme. Former pit bosses report players would get locked into what they called lightning link trance. They'd sit there for hours, convinced the next spin had to be the one because they kept seeing so many bonus symbols. But those symbols were just visual noise. The actual trigger rate was much lower than the frequency of symbol appearances suggested. But if Lightning Link mastered the visual tease, the next slot added something even more insidious: cartoon nostalgia that fired your emotions at random. Machine number 3, the Flintstones slots. The Flintstones slot didn't just use a beloved brand. It weaponized your childhood memories with precision-engineered emotional triggers. Former employees say this machine was one of the most psychologically manipulative designs they'd encountered. And the reason was simple: random cartoon effects that meant nothing. Here's how the trick worked. As you played, the machine would randomly trigger animations. Fred would pop onto the screen and yell "Yabba Dabba Doo." Dino would run across the reels. The iconic theme song would play. These effects happened constantly, maybe every 20 or 30 spins. And every time they fired, players would lean forward, expecting a bonus round or big win to follow. But former technicians revealed these animations were completely disconnected from actual game outcomes. They were programmed to trigger randomly, regardless of whether you were about to win anything. The goal was emotional engagement. Every time Fred appeared, your brain registered excitement and anticipation, even when nothing meaningful happened. This kept players in their seats far longer than logic would dictate. They'd think the characters keep showing up, so a bonus must be coming soon. But those cartoon effects were just smoke. The real bonus triggers were spaced according to the machine's volatility settings, which former staff say were set fairly high. Now we're down to the final 2 machines, and number 2 has a feature that created such a frenzy effect. Former employees say it should have come with a warning label. Machine number 2, Crazy Money Deluxe. Crazy Money Deluxe lives up to its name, but not in the way players hoped. This machine created what former employees describe as a frenzy state, and it was entirely by design. The money catch bonus looked exciting and generous. In reality, it was a masterclass in spacing psychology. Here's the setup. The money catch feature triggered when you landed special symbols. When it hit, bills would fly across the screen and you'd catch them for instant cash prizes. Visually, it was chaotic and thrilling. Music blared. Animations exploded everywhere. Players loved it. But former technicians revealed the dark side. These bonuses were intentionally spaced much farther apart than the base game action suggested. The machine would give you frequent small wins in the base game, creating a sense of momentum. You'd be winning 2x here, 3x there, feeling like the machine was hot. Then it would go cold. The money catch bonus, the feature everyone was chasing, would suddenly become incredibly rare. Players would burn through hundreds of spins waiting for it to trigger again. Former pit bosses describe watching players get trapped in what they called the crazy money spiral. They'd hit one money catch bonus, win maybe $40 or $50, then spend the next hour chasing another one. By the time it finally triggered again, they'd lost far more than that first bonus paid. But the frenzy effect of the feature made them forget the math. But the final one used a visual trick so subtle and so psychologically effective that former technicians say it represents the peak of behavioral engineering in gambling. Machine number 1, Zeus III. Zeus III doesn't look unusual at first glance. It's a Greek mythology-themed slot with dramatic graphics and epic music. But former employees reveal this machine has one of the most psychologically tuned reel layouts ever created. And the manipulation is hidden in plain sight. Here's the trick. Zeus III has an unusual reel configuration. The first 2 reels are standard height, but the third reel is massive, nearly twice as tall as the others. This means when wild symbols or high-paying Zeus symbols land on that third reel, they take up huge amounts of visual space. Your eyes see giant stacks of winning symbols, and your brain interprets that as a massive win coming. But former technicians explain those tall stacks almost never connect with matching symbols on the first two reels in ways that generate the big pays they visually promise. The reel strips were mathematically designed so that while the third reel looked incredibly generous, the symbol distribution on reels 1 and 2 made actually hitting big combinations rare. You'd constantly see giant Zeus stacks and think you were so close to a huge win when the odds were always against it. The psychological effect was devastating. Players would fixate on that tall third reel. Every spin, they'd watch giant symbol stacks appear and think, this is it. When it didn't pay big, they'd think they barely missed. So they'd spin again and again. Former floor staff report Zeus III had some of the longest average play sessions of any machine on the floor.